Griffin Cole shoved a freshman into a locker so hard the kid's binder exploded and papers scattered across the hallway. He laughed and kept walking. Two of his friends high-fived him. Nobody said a word because Griffin was untouchable. I pressed myself against the wall to let him pass, and he didn't see me because nobody saw me. Every day I ate lunch alone in the art room, hunched over my sketchbook with a granola bar. I was drawing a portrait of my dog when Griffin dropped into the chair across from me and said, "You should run for prom king," and I almost swallowed my pencil. Griffin Cole had never once glanced in my direction in 4 years of high school. He'd shoved a kid into a locker 30 seconds ago, and now he was sitting in my art room smiling at me like I was interesting. I'm serious. He leaned back and put his feet on the table and grinned. Everyone loves an underdog. He pulled a stack of clothes from his backpack, jeans and a button-down, and a jacket that still had the tag on it. "Wear these tomorrow." My hands tightened on the jacket. My art school application was due in 6 weeks. The portfolio section asked for evidence of community engagement. I had nothing to put in it. 4 years of drawing for nobody. The dread prickled up my arms, and I rubbed them because this felt wrong. But Griffin was smiling at me. The ache in my chest cracked open. I picked up the jacket and pressed the fabric against my face because I wanted it to be real so badly my hands were shaking. "Why me?" "Because you're different. People are tired of the same guys winning." He clapped me on the shoulder and walked out, and his cologne hung in the art room for 10 minutes. I pulled on the clothes the next morning. Everything pulled and bunched in the wrong places. The jeans were too long. The jacket grabbed across my shoulders. When I checked the tag in the bathroom, the shirt was from a clearance rack. Wrong size entirely. Griffin hadn't even bothered to check. But when I shoved into first period, 3 people said hi to me who had never spoken to me before, and I flinched at every single one because friendly voices aimed at me felt like a language I'd forgotten. A girl named Ren turned around in her seat. "You look nice." My voice cracked when I said thanks. She laughed, but it wasn't mean. Something cracked open in my chest that I'd been keeping sealed for 4 years. Griffin's crew yanked me into their lunch table. I squeezed in between 8 people. They talked about prom and the campaign. Not one person mentioned the art room. A kid named Dex nominated me for prom court during 6th period. The teacher read my name off the ballot. The whole class clapped. My face was burning, but I was smiling so hard my cheeks ached. They dragged me to a party that weekend. Griffin's house was huge with a pool in the back and 100 kids already inside. I shoved through the front door holding my sketchbook because my hands needed something to hold, and Griffin pulled it out from under my arm. "Come on, show them what you can do." He opened it to a portrait of my dog. People crowded around the sketchbook. "That's incredible." A girl asked me to draw her. I said sure, and she hugged me. I froze with my arms at my sides. The last person who'd hugged me was my mom. I drew her in 15 minutes while the party swirled around me. She watched my hand move without talking. When I showed her the finished portrait, she pressed both hands over her mouth, her eyes filled with tears. Nobody's ever drawn me before. I taped it to the wall, and 3 more people asked for portraits, and for one night the sketchbook was the coolest thing in the room, instead of the thing I hid behind. Ren dropped onto the back porch next to me while I was drawing the pool. She hopped onto the railing and dangled her feet and watched me work for a full minute without talking. "You're really good. Thanks. Like actually good." She pointed at the water in my sketch. "The way you drew the reflection." I gripped my pencil tighter. I opened my mouth to say something, and Griffin appeared behind us and threw his arm around my shoulder. "My boy Elliot, future prom king." He squeezed hard enough to push the pencil off the page. When Ren tried to say something, he talked over her and steered me back inside. The grip on my shoulder tightened. Then Ren grabbed my arm before second period. She pulled me into the stairwell with a grip that was shaking, and her face was pale, and she held up her phone. "I need to show you something." She turned the screen toward me. A group chat with 17 people called Project Prom King. Griffin's messages. $500 says I can get this kid crowned prom king. The freak in the art room. Crown the freak and film his face when we tell him it was all a bet. Who's in? 17 responses. I'm in. Dead. Someone get him clothes, he looks homeless. Dex. That's easy money right there. A girl named Brianna. I'll get him a date, lol, she won't know either. $500 and 17 people, and every smile and every "you look nice" was part of it. I was a $500 joke, and the punchline was my face when they told me on stage. I sank onto the stairwell step, and the humiliation was so total my vision blurred. I clutched my sketchbook against my chest and pressed my forehead against the cover. Ren dropped onto the step next to me. I'm not part of it. Brianna added me by accident. She scrolled down. There's more. I read the rest. Griffin's plan wasn't just to crown me. He was going to let me win, let me take the mic, and then grab it and read the group chat out loud to 600 people. Crown the freak, let him cry, then show everyone it was fake. He was going to humiliate me on stage in front of every person I'd ever tried to be invisible around. How long? Since the day he came to the art room. 3 weeks. I slammed my fist against the stair railing. Every high in the hallway was a setup. Every portrait I'd drawn for my art school application was built on a lie. And every kid who'd sat at my table and let me draw them would find out they'd been part of a bet they didn't know about. I ripped the jacket off and threw it down the stairs, and it landed in a heap at the bottom. I need to tell you something else, Ren said. Griffin told the group chat that if you find out and drop out, anyone who spent money on the clothes or the nomination gets their money back from him. He needs you to stay in so he wins the bet. I grabbed the railing and pulled myself up. Then I'm staying in. I pressed my face into my pillow, and the humiliation pinned me to the mattress. But around midnight, I threw the covers off, and the fury took over. Griffin bet $500 he could put a crown on my head and film me crying. I pulled on my own clothes, paint-stained jeans and a hoodie with charcoal smudges. Griffin saw me in the hallway, and his grin flickered. Where's the shirt? Didn't fit right. The fury kept me upright as I brushed past him. I set up a table in the cafeteria with my sketchbook and a sign. Free portraits, 5 minutes. First day, the chair across from me stayed empty. I drew for the entire lunch period with an empty chair across from me. Griffin's whole table was laughing. Someone said, "He's just sitting there, loud enough to carry." The desperation was choking me. I gripped my pencil so hard it snapped. I taped the broken halves together and kept drawing because quitting meant Griffin was right about me. Ren dropped into the chair at the end of the period. "Draw me." She sat still, the freckle under her left eye, the way her hair fell. When I showed her, she didn't gasp like I expected. She just stared at it. "That's how you see me? That's how you look." She folded it carefully and put it in her jacket pocket and patted it twice. "I'll be here tomorrow, and I'm bringing people with me." She did. 3 kids the next day, 9 the day after that, 20 portraits in 3 days, and my hand cramped by the end of each lunch period. Each one I signed and taped to the wall outside the cafeteria, and people started stopping between classes to find their face. Ren printed flyers. "Vote Elliot, he actually sees you." She plastered them on every wall. Griffin noticed fast and fought back harder. He ripped a button off a freshman's shirt and flicked it down the hall. "You're voting for the art room, freak?" He spray-painted joke across my campaign poster, and I had to scrub it off with my bare hands while people filed past. Owen's team put up professional posters with slick slogans. Owen's campaign had money, clout, and a lacrosse team behind it. The hallway poll showed Owen ahead by 30 points. The whiteboard showed the gap was so wide it felt like a canyon. Dex shoved me against the lockers. "You know this is a joke, right? Watch me. Griffin's gonna be pissed." "Good." Dex lowered his voice. "You don't know what he's like when he loses. His dad pulled him out of a basketball game in 8th grade for missing a free throw, dragged him out by the arm in front of the whole gym." I closed my sketchbook. He slipped a stolen answer key into my locker and reported me for academic dishonesty. I got hauled into the principal's office. For 2 hours, I thought my campaign was over. They checked the hallway cameras. The footage showed Griffin opening my locker. The principal called him in. Griffin went red in the face. The principal said, "I think we're done here." Griffin stormed out and kicked a trash can so hard it dented the wall. The humiliation hit like a truck. The cheating accusation spread faster than the retraction. Kids who'd been wearing my buttons stopped making eye contact in the hallway. I heard he cheats. I heard he got expelled from his last school. The portrait wall was thinning. Griffin's crew walked the halls telling people the portraits were embarrassing, and one by one the faces came down. 20 portraits became 14, became 9. Each empty spot on the wall was a person who'd been scared into pretending they'd never sat at my table. Ren found me staring at the empty spots on the wall. "They're scared of him." "I know. Are you?" My hand grabbed a fresh portrait and taped it over an empty spot. "Yes." She squeezed my arm. "Good. Scared people fight harder than anyone." Griffin started making a list. Every kid who'd sat at my portrait table. Every kid wearing a button. He told his crew to remember the names because, when this is over, everyone who backed the freak is going to know what that costs. The threat spread through the hallways like a virus. 3 kids came to my table and quietly asked me to take their portraits off the wall. They couldn't afford to be on Griffin's list. Then Griffin went after Ren. She came to school the next day with red eyes and wouldn't tell me what happened until I blocked her car door and said, "What did he do?" She told me everything. How he cornered her between 2 cars. How he leaned over her and said, "When this is over and he loses, everyone's going to remember you as the girl who backed the freak." She was shaking, and the fury hit me so hard, my vision tunneled, and my foot connected with her tire so hard, it throbbed. "He doesn't get to touch the people who helped me." She wiped her eyes. "I'm not quitting. Neither am I." The night before the pep rally, I spread every remaining portrait across my bedroom floor and looked at the faces and counted them. 23 people who'd risked Griffin's wrath to sit at my table. 23 people who looked me in the eye while I drew them. If I lost, every one of them would be a target. The pep rally was my last shot. Owen got a microphone and a podium and a highlight reel on the gym screens. The administration told me I could speak from the floor. No microphone and no screen. My feet planted on the gym floor in front of 600 kids. My name is Elliot. I eat lunch in the art room because nobody ever asked me to sit anywhere else. 3 weeks ago someone did. It wasn't real, but the way I felt was, the gym went quiet. I'm not running because I think I deserve a crown. I'm running because every kid who eats alone deserves to know somebody sees them. The sketchbook went up above my head. I drew 42 of your faces. I saw you. No microphone. The gym was silent. For 3 horrible seconds, nobody moved, and I thought I'd miscalculated everything. Then a girl in the back row stood up. Just one person. Then the kid next to her. Then a whole section. The clapping started slow and built. By the front row, it was a wall of sound. 600 kids on their feet. Griffin was slumped in the 3rd row with his face like stone. After the speech, the portrait wall filled back up overnight. Not just the originals. New people taping their own photos next to my drawings. The hallway poll flipped. Owen still led, but the gap had collapsed from 30 points to single digits. If I lost, Griffin would read the chat on stage anyway. Every kid who'd supported me would be named as someone who fell for it. And my art school portfolio would be 40 portraits built on a prank. Kids who'd pulled their portraits down came back and asked me to draw them again. I drew every single one. I snuck into school the night before prom and painted a mural on the wall outside the cafeteria. 100 faces. The janitor who always said good morning next to the quiet girl from AP Bio next to Ren with the freckle under her left eye. Every face the same size. Nobody bigger than anyone else. I painted until 3 a.m. and it was the best thing I'd ever made. Griffin showed up before first period with a bucket of white paint. 30 kids were already taking photos and Snapchatting it with my name tagged. He put the bucket down. His hands were shaking. He stormed down the hallway and kicked a locker. The bang echoed through the whole wing. Ren sent me the final poll numbers that afternoon. Owen 52, Elliot 48. 4 points behind with 12 hours to go. I dropped onto my bed and stared at the suit hanging on my door. The gap felt wider than 4 points. Every single undecided kid had to break my way. That was a bet I wasn't sure I could win. My phone buzzed. Ren, you're close. Closer than anyone thought possible. My thumbs typed, close isn't enough, and I deleted it and typed, see you tomorrow instead. She called me that night. You don't have to go tomorrow. You already proved the point. If I don't go, he wins. If you go and it hurts you, he also wins. Then I'll make sure it doesn't hurt. Wear the paint tie, obviously. I bought a black suit with portrait money. 40 portraits at $10 each. The tie had paint splatters that Ren found at a thrift store. I drew a crown on the inside cover of my sketchbook. Simple, crooked, mine. Griffin was in the parking lot when I pulled up. He stepped in front of my car door. You don't have to do this. Do what? Go to prom. You could drop out. I'll give you the 500 right now. He held up a wad of cash. I shoved the door open and he stepped back. Keep your money. You're going to embarrass yourself. I straightened my paint splatter tie. I've been embarrassing myself in front of people my whole life. At least tonight I get a crown for it. I strode past him. He grabbed my arm. I spun and pulled free, fury still pounding through me. Don't touch me. He let go. I straightened my tie and pushed through the doors. The gym was transformed. Streamers, lights, a DJ, 600 kids. The energy was so loud I could feel it in my ribs. Ren met me at the door in a green dress with one of my portraits pinned to her corsage. Ready? No. Good. Let's go. They announced the court. 5 names. I was one. Owen was one. We lined up on stage and the lights were blinding and my hands were shaking but my feet were planted. And your prom king is… The principal opened the envelope. Elliot Ward. The room erupted. I didn't move. The sound hit me like a physical thing. My legs locked. Ren was screaming my name from the front row. The joy hit so hard my knees almost buckled. 600 kids screaming and the floor vibrating and Ren jumping up and down in the front row. They put the crown on my head and the emotion hit me so hard I had to grab the podium. Cheap gold metal. It sat crooked because my head was smaller than Owen's and the edge dug into my temple and it was the heaviest, lightest thing I'd ever worn. The principal reached for the microphone. Griffin stood up in the 3rd row. He was heading for the stage. He was going to grab the mic and read the chat and destroy everything in front of 600 people. I lunged forward and took the microphone from the principal's hand before Griffin made it to the stairs. The room went quiet. I could see Griffin in the 3rd row, arms crossed, waiting. He was waiting for me to break, to deliver the punchline of his $500 joke. I lifted the mic. 3 weeks ago, I ate lunch alone in the art room every single day. I talked to my sketchbook more than I talked to people. Then somebody noticed me. I turned toward Griffin. He shifted in his seat. Griffin Cole walked into the art room and told me I should run for prom king. He gave me clothes. He got me invited to parties. He got me nominated. He got people to talk to me for the first time in 4 years. Dead silence. Griffin was standing at the edge of the stage. He'd made it halfway up the stairs before 2 teachers blocked him. His crew crew was exchanging glances, and two of them shifted their chairs away from him. What Griffin didn't know is that I found out about the bet 3 weeks ago. The ripple hit the room like a shockwave. I could see it travel row by row, heads turning, mouths opening. Griffin's face went white and his hands dropped from the armrests to his knees. $500, 17 people, crown the freak. Film his face. 600 heads turned toward Griffin, his arms uncrossed, his hands gripped the armrests. I could have quit. I almost did. I crouched on a stairwell and ripped the jacket off and threw it down the stairs. I almost never came back. My voice cracked and tears blurred my vision, and I let both happen because hiding was the old version of me. But here's what nobody planned on. When you treat someone like they matter, even as a joke, they start to believe it. Not because of you, because of what it wakes up in them. I gripped the podium. I started drawing portraits because Griffin's crew made me believe someone might actually want one. 42 people sat at my table. 42 people looked me in the eye. That was real. They were real, even if the reason I got there wasn't. I turned back to Griffin. His face was gray, and his hands were gripping his knees, and he wasn't moving. You bet $500 you could make me prom king. You won. I'm standing here with the crown. I tapped the cheap gold medal on my head. But I'm keeping it, because I earned it. Not because of your bet. Because of 42 portraits. A girl who believed in me. Every kid in this school who voted for someone they'd never noticed before, and decided he was worth noticing. I set the mic down on the podium, and the silence stretched for 3 full seconds, and I could hear my own heartbeat. Then the roar started. 600 kids on their feet. Ren grabbed me when I came off the stage. She hugged me so hard she lifted me off the ground. She was crying and laughing. My crown fell off. She caught it one-handed and put it back on my head and tilted it until it sat right. She pressed her forehead against mine. I could feel her tears on my face. You earned that. We earned that. None of this would have existed without the girl who sat at an empty table on day one. The crowd was still on their feet. Someone started chanting, "Elliot." It spread through the gym until the streamers vibrated. Griffin stood up. The chanting died. The whole room was looking at him. He reached into his jacket with a shaking hand and pulled out $500 in cash. He held it up so the whole room could see. He won fair. His voice was quiet. His jaw was tight. He set the money on the edge of the stage and walked back to his seat and put his head in his hands. The relief and pride were so tangled together I couldn't separate them. I picked up the cash and handed it to the DJ. Play something good. The kids on Griffin's list were safe. Every portrait on the wall was real. My art school application was real. The freshman whose button Griffin had ripped off was standing in the second row. He reached into his jacket and pulled out the Vote Elliot pin he'd hidden inside and held it up above his head. Then another kid held one up. Then 10 more. The DJ cranked the speakers. The whole gym rushed the floor. I was dancing in a paint splatter tie with a crooked crown, and Ren's hand in mine. Griffin Cole was leaning against the bleachers alone, watching the kid he bet against own every second of the night he'd planned as a joke. Dex found me. I'm sorry. I know. I voted for you. So did half of Griffin's table. He held out his hand. I shook it. He pulled me into a hug and pounded my back. I'm sorry, he said one more time into my shoulder. Stop apologizing and go dance. I danced until my feet hurt, and then I dropped onto the gym steps with the crown in my lap and pulled out my sketchbook. I drew the gym, the lights, the streamers, Ren in her green dress, the crown on the velvet pillow, and in the corner of the page, small and alone by the bleachers, I drew Griffin. My hand shook while I did it because the anger hadn't fully left, but I drew him anyway, the same size as everyone else, because everyone deserves to be seen, even the people who tried to make sure you weren't.